Hey, it's Brett Klika here with BrettKlika.com and the undergroundworkoutmanual.com. Today, let's do a little learning how to be a better teacher. In the talk principle, I talk about, hey, part of growing as a trainer is learning how to be a better teacher. Part of that is learning to deal with the resistant client. Everybody who has ever been in personal training has probably more than one resistant client. What I mean by the resistant client is someone who comes in to work with you, but they're apprehensive, they have a low pain tolerance. You find them questioning you all the time. Like, well, we're doing this, but I read in so-and-so magazine that Gwyneth Paltrow said I shouldn't do this and I shouldn't. And there's always sort of a question. There's almost a suggestion of mistrust. And right away, trainers get really frustrated. And I hear these really cavalier trainers, and I'm really surprised that there are some industry leaders that actually try to talk like this. They talk about firing clients and, well, if you're not going to do this, then I'm not going to do that. And I think that's a very unfortunate approach. That's like saying, well, I'm going to be a teacher, but you better know how to read by the time you come to me, because if you have a hard time reading, I don't want to work with you. That's exactly the same thing. Now, as you work through the industry for years and years and years, you may select, well, I only work with elite athletes, or I only work with these people. When you're starting, if you really want to make an impact on the world, the fact of the matter is, we have too many people that are afraid because of their previous story, their previous experience with exercise. We have too many people that are afraid to get up and actually move. And part of our job to impact the world as personal trainers is helping teach them how to move. But many trainers, they just don't want to learn how to talk to people. They just want to preach to the choir. And to those people, I say it's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that you would be that low level of an educator and not be able to teach the needy. In saying that, what do we do when we get that frustrating person? Because it is very frustrating. We think you're coming to me for advice and then you're not taking it. What's wrong with you? Remember that there's a big why behind why these people are apprehensive and they have a low pain tolerance and they may not trust us. Think about that why before we come quick to judgment. And Dr. Jim Loehr in The Power of Story, highly recommend that book, but he talks about how we formulate these stories about our life. So our experiences and things that have happened to us before, what we've been told by others, the way we were raised, culturally, whatever it is, we have stories in regards to different things. So many people have a story when it comes to physical fitness. Part of that story may be, well, yeah, I remember physical education class. I wasn't good. So if you're not good in PE class, you're going to get made fun of by the other kids. You're going to get a bad grade. It's just going to be this downward spiral. So you've convinced yourself your story is, I'm not good at physical activity. It's something that's negative for me. That's the story going on in your mind. Also realize with pain, oh no, that hurts. We hear that all the time. And we people that have played sports and trained for years and we train so hard, we feel, well, I know what pain is and that's not pain. Well, if you're raised in a culture or raised in an environment where the second you stubbed your toe, mommy or daddy came over and kissed your toe, and there's a big mistrust, particularly if I'm an everyday person, I'm a little timid in the weight room, I come in to work with this extremely fit, extremely physically competent, extremely experienced, probably good looking and gregarious, because that's really the fitness industry, let's be honest, we're people persons and that's kind of part of it. And these people come in and they're automatically intimidated because of their previous story with people like you and I that were pretty good at that physical world. They see us as those people who were making fun of them, who were belittling them. So we have to overcome those challenges. That's their story. But we need to create a new story. And we're going to create this old story of incompetence, this old story of they don't trust us because we might have ulterior motives, or they think that we're going to judge them, or whatever it may be. Our new story is going to be one of care, competence, and continuance. So the first thing that I've focused on doing as I have anyone come in to work with me, yes, I have assessments, there's a physical piece, but the number one thing that you can do is show them that you care. If you have a resistant client, or actually just any client, if you show them that you care, you develop trust, they will trust you and they will start to make changes in their life. Part of that trust is that connection, and part of that connection is finding what do you have in common. when someone is resistant, they have these trust issues. So if you start talking, oh yeah, I struggled with that. This is a struggle for me. Maybe just little things like hobbies. What can you talk with them about that is a common point between the two of you? Because they come in thinking that you're here. You're this athlete that's super fit and your exercise is easy to you. You got life figured out. They are, I'm frustrated. I'm defeated. I don't know anything. And that's where they're at. And there's these two worlds going on. If we can create an intersection of those worlds where they realize that we're just humans and we truly care about them, and part of that is that trust and connection and even touch. I've gotten a lot out of from a trust standpoint, just putting my hand on someone's shoulder. And just for stretching them at the end of a session, showing that I care, I want to make you feel better in your life. It's not about judgment, it's not about me, it is truly about you. So once we do that, we start to break down barriers. Then we want to create competence. Now, part of that old story of apprehension towards physical activity is the fact they weren't good at it. No one likes to do something they're not good at. So what we need to do is we need to create a story of competence. Part of that is going to be relevance, and part of that is going to be regression. So what I mean by relevant, and I used to struggle with this because I had in my mind what I thought was the most important thing. This person has to learn how to do this, has to learn how to do this, has to learn how to do that. They have to reach these goals. But if you really listen to people, getting to single-digit body fat might not be relevant to their needs. Getting to a point where they're doing these certain lifts in the weight room or running a certain time when they're running or cardio, that may not be that important to someone. And if we just hammer away in our minds, it's important to us, but it's not that important to them, we need to find out what truly is important to them. Make what we're doing relevant to them so they see where it fits into their individual life. And we have to listen to what they really need, and then we fit what we're doing in the context of their life. For example, if I'm having someone do kettlebell deadlifts and they don't like it, this is realize I want you, when you travel, because I know you travel all the time, when you pick up that suitcase, I don't want you hurting your back. Remember when you came in and told me you were hurting your back? So I'm going to teach you how to do that so we don't have pain and you can travel for the rest of your life. So little things like that, making it relevant for them. But just purely regression. If we want to create competence, I see this all too often. Someone's like, okay, do push-ups. Oh, you can't do push-ups. Okay, well just keep practicing until you can do it because, oh man, I wrote down this workout and I had push-ups on it. You can't do push-ups. Well, just keep practicing, keep practicing. For everything we do, for every concept we introduce, including nutrition, including physical exercise, including self-empowerment, whatever it is, we need to have ways to make it more challenging, a step-by-step personal approach to making things more challenging and making things more doable. If someone can't do a push-up, well, then what can they do? What can we make them feel good about that's progressing towards that? And it's not just like, okay, well, the regression for that is just knee push-ups and now just do knee push-ups. Well, there might be something below that. Maybe it's just holding a standing plank. Maybe it's holding a plank, a half plank with your knees on the ground. It could be, where's the breakdown? Learn how to see human movement for what it is and learn how to regress it all the way back to lying on their back. Almost as a baby, I've had adults that I've had to regress all the way back to lying on their back and learning how to roll over to their stomach, learning how to crawl, learning how to really do things that my daughter, who's almost 6 months old, is learning how to do right now. So learn how to regress, because then when people say, oh wow, I accomplished something, it's not just this hard stuff, oh yeah, I still can't do it, reinforcing that old story. Give them things that make them feel competent. Then it's going to build on that care and that trust. And the final step is continuance. So once we have that trust, once we start to make them feel competent so they actually enjoy what they're doing, then we need to continue that. And what I've found to be the most successful in continuing, again, I've had many of my clients for 12, 13, 14 years. Now, even though I travel all around the world, I'll come home and I get to work with them. Even if it's a couple times a month, they're still my clients and I still enjoy impacting their lives, and they've tremendously impacted my life. So assessment, accountability, and adaptation. Whatever you choose to do for assessment, I use the functional movement screen. I have certain benchmarks that I use with individuals to try to get them to achieve. Whatever it is that you use, maybe it's just a matter of, let's see how you can do a push-up or a squat or an overhead squat or whatever it is. But in 3 weeks, we're going to assess that. I'm going to give you a score. And if you get this score, then we get something. So always finding a means, always working towards something versus just coming in and doing stuff. But find something that's relevant to them and work towards it and have some benchmarks for that. Again, some of my clients for 14 years, that's really challenging to constantly find things that we're working on. But I have 70-year-old women doing face-to-the-floor push-ups that started on their knees and resistant. No, I don't want to do this. You're a man, you don't understand. And now they're doing kettlebell swings, heavy sumo grip deadlift, you name it, they're doing it because we've developed that. Also the accountability, just knowing that even if you've been with them forever, sending them a text out of the blue. How are you doing? Did you move today? How's your meals? Just a little something that shows that, yep, even though we've been together, I'm not in a comfort zone. I'm not just going to sit back and cruise and accept your money. I'm going to continue to help make your life better. And then finally, adaptation. As things evolve, as the person evolves, as they trust you more, as they go through things in their life, as they go through stress in their life, changes in life, be willing to adapt the program to make it relevant. So as someone gets better or just whatever is going on, if you find or if new things come into the industry, albeit they may be a trend, it might be a fad, but just knowing about it, providing a taste of it, knowing just what people are interested in, what people are talking about, and delivering that experience over time. That way you always stay relevant to the person and you always stay a part of their life. So again, to deal with that resistant client, they're going to have their old story and realize we got our stories, so we're not above that, but their story of defeat happens to be with exercise. So we need to tell them and teach them that new story of care, competence, and continuance, and that's how you do it. So again, let's get out there, let's impact some lives, sweat, smile, sustain. Klika here with Klika.com, and I hope to see you soon.